Well, I thought I'd do a hay update. It's the first week of May. I want to take a little ride around on the Massey Ferguson 1105, and I'll kind of show you around. So I'm in the Massey Ferguson 1105, and this is one of the fields I got. This is kind of a heavy Timothy, but I kind of call it a Timothy mixed grass hay now because, you know, there's fescue coming in and some orchard grass. Legacy grasses from a seed pit has been in here for a long, long time. It's growing really nice, and it's not as tall as I'd like for it to be, but we've had a lot of cool weather. This is the first day we've had where it's gotten up to, it's close to 80 degrees, and you know, trying out the air conditioning on the Massey since we had a rebuilt new compressor put in, and it really feels good, nice and cool. So let's take a little drive. We're hoping to cut hay here in about, well, the week before Memorial Day. We'd like to cut hay, and I'd like to get this stuff cut before it goes, the seed head gets too big, and like some nice green hay going in the barn. Horse customers really like it, and our yield's not quite as good when the hay is cut a little earlier, but we like to cut for quality, not necessarily quantity. Got another field over here. So again, out here we have mostly Timothy, but there's a lot of other stuff growing in. It's not bad, it's just, you know, once we get lower than 80% of a specific variety, you know, I typically call it, you know, a Timothy mixed grass. And, but, I mean, there's not much in the way of weeds, and I think it's terrific hay. It tests really good. We test with Equi-Analytical and Trainer 603. It's wet chemistry, and we come in low in sugar, which is ESC plus starch, ESC being ethanol soluble carbohydrates, if I recall correctly, and then we're low in potassium and iron. Our crude protein fluctuates anywhere between 9 and 11%, which is good for horses. Massey sounds pretty good if you ask me. So this is kind of a low-lying field, and the field we were just in is kind of up there, and this is actually a pretty good Timothy field, and but as with some of our other fields, it's starting to age, and a little bit of orchard grass and fescues coming into it, and but it makes for a really nice Timothy hay. Customers really like it. It tests really good and kind of goes out and around in the lower area. In my videos, if I haven't posted it, it'll be posted, but there's a creek right along that edge, and where it drops off right over that spot right there. Sometimes some water collects, and if the water gets up out of the banks on that creek, sometimes it'll come into this field, and but this is a great field, and we did a lot of work to clear it, and it's just turned into a real producer. Now right out in the middle, it's a little bit thin. There's not a lot of topsoil out there, kind of where that tree is at and beyond, for just a little bit, and on either side of it, but we're working on that. All right, so we're going to move out to some other spots on the farm, and I'll kind of take you along for the ride. That kitty litter down there is where I had a hydraulic leak on one of these remotes, and you know, it kind of collected on that rubber mat, so I'm just kind of leaving it there for right now and grinding my foot, and I'll vacuum it out. But right now, I want to go to another field. A drone, and the one I got in mind is called a Sky DO2, and those drones have a feature that first gear will be dark when I get up on the hill. Let me put this thing in third and low range, and I've got it in multi-power low, but I'll kick it to high in just a minute. But I want to get a drone that Sky DO2, and what's appealing to it for me is they have what's called a beacon. It'll just follow you around. It's an autonomous drone. You can use it like any other drone to a large degree, but what it's got, right now the Mavic, as I understand it, doesn't really have, or doesn't implement very well, is it's got an autonomous mode, and they've got a beacon that's like the size of a little handle grip. You put it in your shirt pocket, or I guess put it in here in the tractor cab, and you can position the drone wherever you want, and it'll stay fixed and follow you. So whether you're going around turns up and down or what, it'll follow you. I'm gonna drive up here by the old barn. Apple trees all over the place up here. right here where we're looking at, it doesn't do quite as well as the grass down on the lower end of it. I don't know why. I think it might be a little higher in elevation enough that it drains more and kind of dries out. Same deal with this little section right here, and this is the top half of that long field that we were just in. And again, this is really a mixed grass now. And I thought about killing this off and putting it in teff, but that'll come another day. And what we're going to do is we're going to go across the road and up the hill to some of my other fields. We'll be going across this and up that road here in just a minute. All right, here we go. This little field right here was in my baling thatch hay, and this looks like it's going pretty good too. What we're going to do now is take the Massey, get down through there and on up to the top of that hill where I got another field. So let's go. Got this tractor in multi-power high, which means it won't roll away. In multi-power low, there's no engine hold back. So when we're up here on these hills, unless we're just on a flat spot, we feel like we reasonably have it under control. This is what we run, multi-power high. Air conditioning is working great. I've got it on low. Really blowing some cool air. We're getting up here close to the top, and we'll break over here just a little bit. One of the reasons we bought this big Massey is because we want to be able to bring our kicker wagons or square bales safely down this hill without being pushed to the bottom. We wanted the horsepower for our mower conditioner, but we wanted to weight the tractor for hay wagons. And this tractor weighs in at over 15,000 pounds. Alright, so we're about to come into the top here. We got a little hay field. This is really not part of it. It really, when I get up here just a few more yards, you can kind of see what the slope is. Like from here to there, the contrast is pretty stark in terms of quality of grass. And over here, we'll cut down just a little bit, but you can kind of see some tracks over here where I ran fertilizer spread right through there. But this is a good hay field. It was planted in straight Timothy, but it too is starting to see some other stuff come into it. And again, it's about as weed free as you can get. And I'll get out and talk about it here in just a minute, but we'll kind of tool along the side of it. All of this will be hay fields eventually. kind of walk out into this field. And you know, I realize that it's not 100% Timothy like it used to be, but I think it's some pretty darn nice grass. It's not as tall as I'd like it to be. It's been so cold here. We've had like 4 days of warm weather, and they've been scattered apart, you know, by weeks. There's the Massey Ferguson back there. One of the spots we're anxious to put into hay is right across the top of that ridge. It's a nice flat spot right up there, and it goes all the way down like that. So that kind of brings a close to this hay update video, and the bottom line, I think, for us is our yields will be down a little bit because the cold weather's kind of put a damper on the growth. It's tall, but it's not as tall as I'd like it to be. We'll be cutting around Memorial Day weekend, hopefully a week before then. And appreciate everybody that watches these videos. I appreciate those that subscribe and hit the like button. And helpful comments are welcome. And hopefully there's a little bit of networking that's going on with myself and some of the other haymakers out there. But for now, I just again appreciate everybody watching our videos, and we're anxious to get started cutting hay, and we'll talk to you later.